I spent a lot of time thinking and praying about what the Lord wanted the congregation to think about this morning, only to realise that the message that God was leading me to share was more for me than anybody else. So it's been a helpful experience, a good exercise, and I hope you too will be blessed as I just share these thoughts. Just briefly, can I begin with a question? How am I building my life and future? How are you building your life and future? What life's truths and values am I building into each day of my life that will fashion the future I want for me and for those around me whom I value and for whom perhaps I feel somewhat responsible, perhaps family, friends or work colleagues, youth group mates? At the beginning of a new year and perhaps during a holiday break, we might reflect on how the past 12 months have been, contemplate how we could do certain things better this year that's just beginning. Recently I was talking with Ashley Wilson, who is a leader in the Crusaders for Christ team. I don't think they call them that now, but it's the group working with university students. You'll know what I mean. A lot of you here may have actually been part of a group like that. Ashley said that he was saying that there is an upward trend of interest in reading the Bible amongst students, especially among male students, he noticed, of late. Ashley has found that students are reading the Bible out of curiosity or because someone whom they look up to have found direction and answers to their problems through reading the Bible. Some students are drawn to the Bible for answers to their sense of lostness or a concern about what's happening in the world around them and world affairs generally. This trend among young men seems to be in the pattern similar in the UK and Europe, he was saying. The Bible seems to have answers, doesn't it? When we put the Bible to test, when we allow God's word to take root and in our thinking, and as we apply it from our day-to-day situations. I say this out of personal experience, a life of more than 60 years of trusting in God's leading or needing God's leading through the pages of the Bible. My wife Gail has had a similar experience to that. We have found God's leading through the Bible in building a firm foundation for our marriage, which has been a huge help for us. Also in providing principles for raising 3 very different children and through their various stages of development, and finding principles by which we grandparent, and sometimes after making mistakes in trying to grandparent the way we parented, but of course our children don't parent the same way as we parent, and we've got to learn to adjust to our own children's way of parenting so that our sharing with the grandchildren is meaningful. And that's it's been a bit of a journey for us too. In our workplace, largely from working in Christian schools, we have had to allow God's word, coupled with much prayer, to navigate us through day-to-day decision-making, relationship issues. And Satan seems to enjoy attacking workplace relationships amongst Christians. I don't know whether you've noticed that. But hearing or reading God's word isn't enough, is it? We need to act upon God's word and his leading, as Bill mentioned to us, day to day allowing God's Spirit to work through his word to us. In our reading today, Jesus says, "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? As for everyone who comes to me and hears my words and puts them into practice, I will show you what they are like. They are like a man building a house, who dug down deep and laid foundations on rock. When a flood came, the torrent struck the house, but could not shake it, because it was well built. But the one who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a man who built a house on the ground without foundation, and the moment that the torrent struck that house, it collapsed, and its destruction was complete." Words of Jesus. I mentioned earlier that I believe God has this message for me as much as anyone else. I found that in retirement, it's a trap to take off your work shoes and put on the slippers. It doesn't work. Day-to-day life goes on, whether you are 15, 25, nearly 75. So I don't need to, the thought of thinking I don't need to be disciplined about reading the Bible. I've been doing it for 60 years or so. I'll just spend a bit more time praying for my grandkids and for my colleagues at church who perhaps having health issues or whatever. The truth is, every day provides enough trouble of its own, or we need the Lord's leading each day of our life. And if I commence my daily devotions with, "Lord, speak to me today from the pages of your word," I've often found that looking back and seeing how the reading from God's word did provide guidance for that day or the days ahead. So at the commencement of another year, may we, like so many young people today throughout the world, are finding that we see the wisdom in regularly hearing or reading the Bible, but also as per the instruction from Jesus in his parable about the builder, that we will find his leading for us through 2026 by putting into practice what we regularly hear and read. Short and sweet. We're going to